You know the tale of the Buddha's awakening under the Bodhi tree. But few realize it wasn't a solitary meditation. It was a cosmic battle against Mara himself, the embodiment of every obstacle. 4 armies of desire, doubt, fear, and death surged to stop him. His true test wasn't finding peace. It was standing unshaken in the face of temptation. I'm silent flame. And today, we peel back the veneer of serenity to reveal the drama. Buddha versus Mara, an epic clash that echoes in every moment you fight your own inner demons. Mara isn't a horned devil. He's the personification of every internal force that blocks awakening. 3 facets of Mara: Kama Mara, desire, the lure of sensual pleasure, food, fame, comfort that keeps the mind restless. Raja Mara, doubt, the sneaking whisper: are you worthy? Will you succeed? Maybe this path is nonsense. Vibhava Mara, annihilation, the temptation to give up, to sink into nihilism or capitulate to despair. Later texts add Mrityu Mara, the fear of death itself, reminding us that clinging to life is also a form of bondage. Why Mara matters. Every time you sit to meditate and your mind rebels, every time you question your worth, every time you crave escape, that's Mara at work. Understanding him is the first step to not being fooled. Right before dawn's breakthrough, Mara unleashed his 3 daughters, his deadliest weapons of subtle seduction. The 3 daughters: Trisna, craving, whispering, imagine the luxuries you could have, indulge once more. Arati, aversion, hissing, this practice is boring, painful, pointless, turn away. Raga, attachment, coaxing, you won't find love, fulfillment, or meaning here. Seek elsewhere. Buddha's response: he didn't banish them. He invited them into awareness. He saw their beauty and acknowledged their pain, then let them pass. The daughters of distraction aren't demons outside. They are every excited thought, every uncomfortable sensation, every longing heart that arises when you try to be still. Before Mara sent his seductive daughters, he marshaled 4 vast armies, each legion an embodiment of psychological warfare designed to shatter resolve. The army of desire, Kama Mara's legions, soldiers clad in iridescent attire, brandished irresistible fruits and silken robes, tempting every sense. Their trumpets blared with promises of pleasure. Taste this bliss. Feel this comfort. In the battlefield of the mind, craving surged like a flood, pulling attention outward. The army of doubt, Raja Mara's delegates, shrouded in mist and whispering through hidden speakers, they sowed indecision. Are you competent enough to attain awakening? Is this path even real? Their tactics resembled propaganda. Fragment trust in yourself and in the teachings. The army of death, Mrityu Mara's phalanx. Skeleton-clad warriors advanced, brandishing scythes, spectres of one's own mortality. Their battle cry echoed, you will die. All efforts are futile. Fear of death, when weaponized, can freeze the practitioner in existential paralysis. The army of annihilation, Vibhava Mara's envoys. Cloaked in shadow, they offered an exit. Cease all striving. There is only cessation. They erected signs pointing to oblivion, promising liberation through self-erasure. Yet surrender to annihilation is itself a form of clinging to nothingness. These armies attack simultaneously. Craving pulls you forward, doubt pulls you back, death freezes you in place, and annihilation dissolves your will. The mind becomes a war zone. Amid the onslaught, the Buddha performed the most dramatic gesture in Buddhist iconography. The earth touch mudra, a single act that turned the tide of cosmic war. The gesture, Explained seated under the Bodhi tree, the Buddha reached down, touching the earth with his right hand, calling upon the earth goddess, Bhumi, as witness. This mudra signifies the grounding of awakened truth in unshakable reality. The earth itself attests to his merit. Mythic resonance legends describe the earth trembling under the weight of Mara's forces, but calming at the Buddha's touch. Bhumi Devi emerged, testifying to his countless acts of virtue across aeons. Each life's merit he now called as witness. Psychological power. Symbolically, the gesture represents anchoring the mind in present moment awareness, refusing to be swept away by fantasies, fears, or nihilistic urges. It teaches, when every distraction arises, meet it by returning attention to the here and now, grounded like the earth. With one finger pressed to the soil, the Buddha transformed Mara's armies from invaders to witnesses, revealing that true power arises from rooted presence. Mara's most insidious strategy wasn't thunder or phantoms. It was to appear as everything the Bodhisattva held dear. The illusion of kinship. Mara conjured visions of Siddhartha's father and mother, their faces etched with longing and reproach. Come home. Abandon these harsh woods. Your family needs you. Each apparition tugged at the memory of childhood love, the duty-bound son's promise, the pain of leaving his loved ones behind. The allure of compassion turned weapon. By masquerading as filial piety, Mara weaponized the Buddha's deepest virtue. Compassion, once a source of boundless energy, became chains of guilt and obligation. The mind quaked. If you truly care, will you forsake those who brought you into this world? Fear of loss as a trap. Side by side with love's vision came the spectre of loss. Return now, or you will never see them again. This twisted dance of desire and dread threatened to overwhelm his insight with acute emotional suffering. When temptation speaks in your own mother's voice, the battlefield shifts from mind to heart, a far more devastating theatre of war. Faced with Mara's final trick, the Buddha did not flee or collapse in pity. He steadied himself in the fulcrum of awareness. Seeing through the veil, his gaze softened but did not waver. He recognized every figure as a projection of his own mind, not flesh and blood beings. In that moment of clarity, love and fear dissolved into their source, mere mental fabrications woven by craving and aversion. The silent flame of equanimity, he let the visions vanish as mist at sunrise, neither rushing after them nor fighting their existence. His mind became a tranquil flame, alive with warmth, yet unmoved by drafts of attachment or rejection. The final question, unasked, Mara fell silent, deprived of emotional ammunition. There was no question left to unsettle the Buddha. With no answer required, the contest ended, not in conquest, but in the simple recognition that all forms, even those of love, are impermanent. He did not slay a foe. He revealed the foe as his own shadow. And in that seeing, the war itself evaporated as the first rays of dawn filtered through the Bodhi leaves. The battlefield of Mara's mind games gave way to a singular, incandescent clarity, the moment of radiant awakening. After dispelling the last ripple of fear and longing, Siddhartha's chest rose in calm stillness. In that perfect pause, neither inhalation nor exhalation, he touched the core of unconditioned awareness. Texts describe a sudden flash, not a lightning strike, but an inner radiance illuminating every cell of his being. It was as if the light of countless lifetimes converged in a single timeless instant. That flash signified his final victory, not over a demon outside, but over every grasping thought and aversion that arose within. The cosmos acknowledges legend tells of devas in Triastrimsha, heaven, pausing their own revelries to witness the awakening. Celestial trumpets sounded, not as fanfare, but as a ripple in the universal field of compassion. Even earth trembled, not in fear, but in homage. The Bodhi tree's leaves shimmered, showering the ground with living light. Time itself seemed to bow. In that cosmic hush, every being, deva, animal, human, felt the pulse of freedom, as if the whole world had exhaled its first true breath. Sunrise as symbol of new birth. As the sky tinted gold, a red sun crested the horizon, a living mandala of transformation. It was more than dawn. It was the birth of awakened mind, unconfined by cycles of craving and ignorance. The glowing orb mirrored Siddhartha's inner flame, steady, warm, ever-renewing. Each ray became a silent sermon. This is possible for you. Monks who saw the sunrise wept, not in sorrow, but in joy that the victory over Mara was also a victory for every seeking heart. In that dawn, the world learned that enlightenment is not a private secret, but a universal song. Inviting every listener to wake, even after enlightenment's dawn, the ripples of Mara's assault linger, testing the fledgling Buddha and every practitioner who follows. The subtle return of doubt. Shortly after awakening, the Buddha paused in serene reflection. Yet in the quiet, a faint whisper returned. Was it real? Will it last? This was Raja Mara's last gambit, seeding subtle insecurity in the harvest of clarity. The Buddha met this doubt not with struggle, but by revisiting his direct insight, observing the mind's nature until doubt dissolved like morning mist, lingering craving and restlessness. In the hours and days following, small desires resurfaced, comfort in robes, praise from disciples, the warmth of shade. These were echoes of Kamamara, reminding that sensual allure can masquerade even as contentment. The Buddha's remedy, mindful presence, holding each pleasant sensation as impermanent, watching pleasure arise and pass without clinging, confronting the shadow of annihilation. Even those who have glimpsed no self may flirt with the edge of void. Merchu Mara's promise of oblivion as the highest freedom. The Buddha recognized this as another form of clinging to nothingness. He reaffirmed the middle way, freedom not in annihilation, but in compassionate engagement. Victory over Mara is not a one-time triumph, but a perpetual vigilance, seasoned with wisdom, grounded in awareness, and steeled by compassion. After that first sunrise of awakening, the Buddha's mission was to keep the light alive, in himself and in countless others across lifetimes. Teaching as continuation of triumph. His first sermon at Sarnath, the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, was not a theoretical lecture, but a lived expression of overcoming Mara's grip. Every step of the Eightfold Path became a practical antidote to each of Mara's armies. Right view dismantles doubt. Right effort tempers craving. Right mindfulness uproots clinging. Communal reinforcement. The Sangha served as a living embodiment of victory. Each monk's practice, a daily reminder to confront private Maras with collective support. Group retreats replicate the Bodhi Grove's intensity. Practitioners sit through discomfort, distractions, and mental storms, learning to rest in that same silent flame of equanimity. Personal resonance today. In your own meditation seat, Mara's avatars await. The itch to check your phone, the pull of a worry loop, the siren call of giving up. Every time you sit with these visitors, observing without reaction, You reenact the Buddha's victory, turning each temptation into testimony. Thus, Mara's defeat is not ancient lore, but a living challenge, renewed in every breath you hold and every thought you let pass. The dawn of enlightenment was singular, but its glow endures only as we carry that light into each moment of practice and life. Mara's daughters, Trishna, craving, arati, aversion, raga, attachment, aren't relics of ancient myth. They walk beside us each day, garbed in screens, scrolls, and whispered self-judgments. Trishna as endless scrolling. In our age of notifications, craving appears as the itch to swipe. Just one more video, one more like. Each refresh lights the neural pathway of desire, keeping attention in perpetual motion. Underneath this habit lies the same temptation that sat before the Bodhi tree. Satisfy this urge, and peace will follow. Yet peace only retreats further as screens multiply. Arati as digital fatigue. Aversion surfaces whenever discomfort arises. A boring meeting, a challenging task, a moment of stillness. We flee into noise, news feeds, chat threads, entertainment. This rejection of the present moment mirrors Arati's hiss. Turn away. It's too dull, too hard, too pointless. Yet turning away only deepens restlessness. Raga, as identity-clinging attachment, expresses as the need for validation, likes, followers, or the perfect portrayal of self. We stake our worth on external approval, like the daughter who whispered that the Buddha would find true meaning elsewhere. This dynamic convinces us that our sense of me depends on the gaze of others. These daughters convene nightly in the theatre of your mind, calling you to indulge, to escape, to become someone you're not. Their stage is your very attention. In the ancient battle, the Buddha met each daughter not with force, but with lucid seeing. Today, the silent flame of awareness reclaims that victory without conflict, revealing distraction as mere movement in the field of mind. Seeing craving's impermanence, notice the impulse to check your phone. It arises, pulses, and fades. In that simple glance, you touch the same ground under the Bodhi tree, allowing aversion. Its space feel the impulse to flee discomfort. Observe its ebb without setting sail. In that pause, the sting loses its power, recognizing clinging as a story. Hear the voice demanding validation. See it as a narrative spinning in air, not as a decree you must obey. No confrontation, no struggle, just the gentle illumination that turns each princess of distraction into a passing cloud in the sky of awareness. In every age, the shadow of Mara stretches across the path of awakening. This battle isn't confined to one night under the Bodhi tree. It is the living drama of every mind that seeks freedom. Mara as Mira Mara embodies the very patterns we project onto evil, desire we chase, doubts that cripple us, fears that freeze us, nihilism that erases us. He is not an enemy outside, but the reflection of every unsettled impulse within us. The three daughters revisited Trishna. Craving still chants its siren song in consumer culture, urgent acquisition over contentment. Arati, aversion, whispers in every instant of resistance. This is too hard. This is beneath me, driving us into restlessness. Raga, attachment, lures us into identity traps, social media personas, ideological camps, binding our sense of self to external approval. Dharma's response, unshakable presence. The Buddha's method remains our model, not rejection or repression, but full acknowledgement. I see you, Mara, followed by gentle return to clarity. Each moment of mindful presence is a victory stroke, attention held steady, the battlefields of the mind revealed as illusion. Why we must fight and yet not fight. Fighting Mara as a foe feeds the duality he thrives on, self versus other, strength versus weakness. The true triumph is non-resistance, seeing Mara's forms as passing waves, never giving them the power of permanence. Our greatest victory over Mara is the simple act of seeing. When darkness is illuminated, it dissolves without a trace. Mara's legacy is the inner antagonist still whispering doubts in boardrooms, family dinners, and cyber cafes. Yet the silent flame of awareness kindled by the Buddha flickers on as our guide. In the workplace craving for success, aversion to stress, attachment. We began this journey under the Bodhi tree's shadow, watching Mara's forces assemble. Desires glitter, doubts whisper, fears blade, and the daughters of distraction. Now, in the stillness after the storm, we rest in the silent flame that neither ignites nor extinguishes. You have witnessed craving's banquet and hunger's edge. You have heard doubt's echo and death's rattle. You have felt the tug of love turned weapon. And yet, here you stand, unmoved, untethered. This is not triumph born of struggle. This is not conquest of an external foe. This is the quiet recognition that every form you meet is your own mind's shape, arising, dissolving, never owning you. Mara's armies assault endlessly, but the silent flame within does not flicker. It does not wage war. It simply shines, illuminating each shadow as it passes. In its light, temptation loses its color. In its warmth, fear unmasks itself. Bring this flame forward into your days. When craving beckons, let the flame glow. When doubt whispers, let the flame burn. When fear looms, let the flame reveal its emptiness. No chant, no ritual, no battle cry. Just this. I see you, Mara. I see you. And in that seeing, the war is over. I am silent flame. Let this flame live in the unspoken space between thought and silence, where freedom resides beyond all battles.